Hey everybody, good afternoon. This is Allison, and I am with a good friend of mine from UNCW, the University of North Carolina in Wilmington, Mr. Tom Riordan. He is the Assistant Director of Athletic Communications. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did. Thanks
Okay,
for having me, by the way.
not a problem. So do me a favor and do everyone a favor. Tell us a little bit about you, how you started in the industry, how you got into specifically working in higher education, and fill us in.
Well, I'll tell you, I was a student athlete. I played baseball in college up at New York Tech on Long Island, and didn't play a whole lot. So I got a chance to check out everything else that was going on off the field. And there's always this one guy on the bus, a nice guy, but I didn't know what he did. And he would keep the book and some stats and write some stories. I didn't know what that was. I thought it was just there, just to be there. My second senior year, and I say that because they suspended athletics my first senior year, came back and the AD came out to me. I was working a baseball camp, and he said, "Hey, do you want to be my SID next year?" And I said, "Clyde, what's an SID?" I had no idea. He said, "Sports Information Director." I said, what's in it for me?" He goes, "I'll pay for your graduate degree." And at that point, this is 93, and we were just recovering from the train wreck of a recession that we had from the 88 stock market crash. So there wasn't a whole lot out there. So I went home, asked my dad, and he said, you're a dummy if you don't take it. So I did, and I just kind of just learned what an SID does. Now it's all about athletic communications. And I've been doing that since 1995. Got down here at UNC Wilmington in the fall of '99 after 4.5 years at New York Tech. And I've been here ever since. I work with some of the greatest programs in this department. I work with baseball, both volleyball programs, swimming and diving, and men's golf. And I'm always learning. I was a business major with a master's in communications. I'm just trying to figure it out day to day. Something new always comes up, and I'm always learning from it. So I can't say I know all of it. I probably don't know half of it, but it's just a matter of adapting and going on each day.
No, I think you're right. I think that's something that is very, very unique in the sports world is we almost, each season, each week, each year, you almost have to reinvent yourself because you have a new, whether it's your athletes that you have in front of you or your staff that's with you, you're always developing, you're always trying to make yourself a better version of yourself. And if you're not, then what are you doing?
Right.
So
The one thing I did learn is that when I was in school, I played baseball, but I wasn't very talented compared to the other guys on the team. And I wound up playing every position on the field except for center field and shortstop. And I just wanted to get on the field. Coach would say, "Hey, you ever play third base before?" "Hell yeah, coach. Just point me where third base is. I'll get out there." And that's what I did my senior year. Coach came up to me and he said, my second senior year, I should say, and said, "Did you ever pitch?" I said, "You better believe I pitched. I ain't never pitched a day in my life." And he goes, "Well, you're a pitcher now. Get down in the bullpen and go figure it out." And I think that kind of going about learning things really helped me in sports information / athletic communications. I didn't know anything about swimming other than it was in a pool. Volleyball, knew very little bit about it. Golf, knew less. Basketball, I knew that pretty good. But the ability to learn different aspects of my job, I think really has helped me today, where I feel comfortable stepping into any program and doing a job.
So you're essentially a utility player on the field in college, and then you figure out how to be that no, that's perfect. How to become that in the real world, essentially.
That's exactly it. You said utility player on the field. I really wasn't on the field that much, so I really don't call myself a utility guy. But I did. I just wanted to play. I wanted to be in the game. So if he told me go play second, sure thing. And I just did it, and I learned as best I could. And I think that, like I said, that really helps you in the scheme of things. If you're versatile and you can do many different things and show the willingness to admit you're dumb or stupid or don't know something, but then go and work at it, that's just going to make you more valuable. When I started out in communications, we didn't have YouTube. We didn't have, Twitter, thankfully. But I had to learn how to do video editing. I had to learn how to build a website, how to lay out a publication. And that stuff's now on YouTube. So if you need to learn how to use InDesign or Photoshop, type it in and you're going to have results for days on end. And you can learn it that way. I just learned it by calling the people I knew at several schools and say, how do I do this? Is there a way I can do this? And that really helped me.
No, it makes a big
better
difference.
at what I do.
No, and some of the other people that we've talked to also on this blog, they've flat out said it's okay to admit if you don't know how to do something, but taking the initiative to learn, to think outside the box, to grow professionally and personally, and also be that individual that you immediately raise your hand and say, yeah, I'll do it, coach. I can do that. I think that speaks volumes about people's character and will make them stand out among everybody else that just gets in line and shows up for an interview. Let's go into a little bit about 2020. Talk about your COVID experience, how things changed.
There's only 4 months in 2020, there's only 4 months of me really doing anything.
Well, that's what I'm saying. None of us got to do anything at UNCW. We missed almost all of baseball season. Everything was so shut down. And talk us and walk us through that a little bit. How was it for you and your athletes that you saw? It
stunk. When I came back and I met with the baseball team, I said, I think it was 160 days of suck before I got to see the team again and see athletes again. The only time this ever happened, to not with being sick, I wasn't sick or nothing. Back in '92, when New York Tech suspended athletics, I found out midway through the summer. We had no idea what was going to happen. And I was just playing a summer game, and a buddy of mine playing for the team came up and said, hey, man, where are you going next year? Where are you transferring to? And I said, Santee, I'm not going anywhere. I'm at Tech, man. I love it there, and I can't transfer again without losing credits. And I said, well, why do you say that? He said, well, you're dropping your program. I just looked at him like he was stupid, went home, called my coach and said, Coach, what's up? He said, hey, you're third next on the list. We're meeting tomorrow, 8 o'clock in the gym to talk about it. And then from that year, I pretty much became just a student, which some people probably say, well, that's what most of us are. But coming from being an athlete, practice and just maintaining ready for each game and each season, I got to be a general student. At least I had things I could do. This pandemic was shut down. Our last event was against East Carolina, and Matt Suggs, hometown boy here in Wilmington, hit a walk-off, and no one really realized it was a walk-off for the year. Next day, we were supposed to get ready to play, I guess, Liberty, or I don't know who it was, that weekend, and that got shut down, and then just kept extending. So I just, we were told to work from home. We weren't allowed in the office. So I just kind of adapted to dealing with that. Probably the most awkward thing working from home is having a dog look at you for, 24 hours a day, wondering why you're still here and not knowing what the heck is going on. So I would sit there at my desk and work, and she's sitting there 2 feet from me, just not knowing what the heck's going on. But at the same time, it was just a matter of trying to find something to do, be content, call around to people, see how they're dealing with things, hearing what they're, hearing back from their people. So I stayed busy. That wasn't a problem, but I did miss the competition and being around coaches and the student athletes. I have a great time around student athletes. They're fun to be around. They have a good time, and you get to know them. And just to have it come to a halt, I know it was kind of devastating for everyone in the department because that was just not what we're used to doing.
Yeah.
But I did learn how to use several different programs, a little bit more on the video editing, audio editing, just presentations, as far as helping out recruiting. Because right now, our teams can't recruit until the new year. So student athletes from high school, junior college, they can't come on campus, and our coaches can't go off campus to recruit. That decision was handed down by the membership of the NCAA. And one day I was just sitting there and I said, there's got to be something that we can do to show off our campus and our programs. I found out about Spark, and I just created a couple of different Spark presentations for our coaches that they could send to student athletes, which included pictures of the campus, information about the program, the city, the county, the beaches, everything. Just got to give them a next best thing to being in Wilmington.
No, I think that's great. That's smart. That's something that I've heard from other people, just hanging out at the field, watching our kids play. Some of the older kids are creating and having videos made because they need to be able to be seen too.
Yes.
And they're, and back when I was looking to go play softball at schools, that's how I reached out to coaches, because coaches didn't travel as much then either.
Right.
And if they did, there were schools that there's no way I would have been able to play at. So, you created the old VHS tape. For those people that don't know, that are youngins on this is an old tape that's about this big, that's black, that you put in what's called a VCA or VCR player.
VCR.
You actually have to rewind it. It's not.
Be kind. It was rewind. Be kind, or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. And you would have to bring them back rewound at Blockbuster. Again, name from the past. That's what happens. But anyway, all joking aside, people have to be creative to make themselves stand out. And I think the universities have to do that as well in order to make it so. I mean, why would I go to you instead of Coastal Carolina? Or why would I go, different schools like that? I mean, you have to sell yourself and you have to still showcase yourself. And I guarantee you're doing more by just contacting and sending something to show the effort. I mean, as a student, I would think that would make things more interesting. And, these guys have made the effort to woo me, and that makes you feel so much better as an individual. And as we hopefully move toward 2021, and as we start the grind, I mean, what are some things that you're hoping culturally that you see as, on campus as an athletic program? What are some things that you're seeing, some dynamics that are changing? And what are your true hopes of what could grow in the next few months as we lead to 2021?
I think departments need to take the lessons learned from this whole situation and really take a look at what's needed and what's not needed ultimately to have a successful program. A lot of schools at all levels have gotten used to spend, trying to, in hopes of keeping up with everyone else. I think schools need to take a look at who they are, where they're competing, and adjust to that. There's no reason to be spending every dollar that comes in the door, spending it out the back door right away. We need to save some money for a rainy day and put yourself in a better position to compete on and off the field.
Yeah. Use resources.
Gotten out of hand.
Yeah.
It really has. All these ideas of conferences have gotten out of hand. Back when I was in school, we had a conference of Brooklyn College, LIU, CW Post, Hofstra was in there for a bit, Westchester, just outside of Pennsylvania, Central Connecticut, and Pace University. And those are all schools within 2 hours of each other. And one year we wound up having 7 kids taken in the first 2 rounds of the draft. But that's all schools within 2 hours of each other.
Right.
And you got basketball money, and you got this team from up here in Region 1 going down south to play Region 2 or Region 3 or something like that. It's gotten out of hand. We need to bring it back to our local fans. That's the big thing. They're the ones who are going to want to buy the tickets to come out and see you play. They want to know who you're playing.
Yeah.
And that's what I like to see, consolidation or retraction of some of the conferences and get more regionalized.
Yeah.
To save money and to give your student athletes a better chance off the field, not having to be on a bus or a plane for the better part of an entire day.
Yeah, no, you're right. And it allows them to grow a little bit more too, because it gives them the
Yes.
opportunity to be in the classroom more and
Mm-hmm.
or with their tutors or whoever it is, to be able to grow professionally as well as athletically. So I think that's
Another
pretty
thing I
cool.
can see this is, I think this is going to weed out a lot of the people who like to work in sports but don't want to do sports work. I
Well
really think
said.
that I can see that happening. I've seen it really grow to a point in the last 15 years where, I want to work in sports. I like going to games. But then some people don't want to do the work that goes into getting the games off the ground. That includes, making sure student athletes are going to class, uh, cleaning the facility,
Rolling,
staffing the game properly.
rolling
Don't
hot dogs, pulling a tarp,
what?
rolling hot dogs,
Yeah,
pulling a tarp.
I pulled tarps my entire life,
Yeah.
and my hands are okay. Then I got all 10 fingers. I'm lucky. I never got caught under them. But there's, regardless of what work you're in, you're going to have something crappy to do. But you get that done so you can go back and it can enjoy what the crappy thing allows you to do. You
No,
know
you're
what I'm
right.
saying?
You're right.
You got to do the crap work to enjoy the benefits of the crap work. It's
Mhm.
not all just going to games. It isn't. If it is, then you'd be a professional fan. And I don't think they're paying too many people to be professional fans.
Mm-mm. No, they're not anymore. Not like they used to. So on a
No,
fun,
with baseball, you get there 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours before a game
Mhm.
to get prepared.
Yep.
If you don't want to do that, then don't work in sports.
Mhm.
It's a lifestyle. Sports is a lifestyle. That plain and simple. It's not a job. It's a job if you don't want to do it, but it's a lifestyle. Being ready to go at a moment's notice. Rainouts. Well, we got a window to play in 2.5 hours. Let's be ready to go then. All right. You nap for 2 hours, you get ready for a half hour, and then you're playing a game. You get ready for it. It's a lifestyle. It's not a job.
Yeah. It's a grind. I mean, I was talking about it again with a couple others. And the thing that we were angry about this year, and I'm sure you can completely agree with this, we were robbed. We were robbed of that moment where you are working so hard up until opening day, no matter what sport you're in, whether it's, the first pitch of the softball season or,
Mm-hmm.
the basketball, tip of the basketball, whatever.
Right.
That moment before where they start playing the national anthem and everybody closes their eyes that works in sports, takes a deep breath and goes, I did it. And then you open your eyes back up and go, time to go, game time.
Yeah.
Let's get this done.
You know,
And that's why we do, and we're crazy, and you work your tail off all year long to get to that moment. And it's a wonderful moment to have.
I didn't feel I was robbed only because it wasn't done on purpose.
Right.
Some people might say otherwise.
We're not getting political.
No. But I wasn't robbed because I actually like the pregame stuff. I'm the idiot who likes to get there early and talk and make sure I got this done and take my time and go through it. By the time the game comes around, I'm usually tired. I'm just like, all right, let's get the game going. Because then after that, I got to do something else. people call it a grind. I don't call it a grind. I don't like that term because to me, grinding is two gears out of alignment that aren't fitting properly. So it's not well oiled. It's not aligned properly. I want to make sure that everything I do is aligned properly to have a successful launch of a game or an event.
That's
I don't know
well
if that makes
said.
sense,
No, that's
but
well
that,
said.
yeah, I understand a lot of people use it, oh, it's a grind. You know what's a grind? There's plenty of jobs out there that are grinds.
Yeah.
You know, when I was up on Long Island, my brother was a New York City firefighter. He's retired now, but he was also a garbage man. And I'd be getting up at 7:30, 8 o'clock, man, going to 7-Eleven, getting a bagel, an orange, or something like that. And I see my brother on the back of a garbage truck. I just give him a quick wave, and he give me a wave. I'm going to an office. He's going to pick up someone's garbage can, you know, and that goes on for 7 hours a day. That's a grind, man. What I'm doing is not a grind. And if it gets to be a grind, I'll shut it down and I'll go find something else to do.
No, that's well said. That's well said. And and you're right. Maybe grind isn't the right word. And I like your analogy of it's two gears out of alignment. That means we need to get everything back ready to go. I think that's a beautiful description of the sports world because you
Well,
can
I'm
tell the team.
copywriting that, so don't steal
All
it.
right, I'll make sure to put a little C next to it for
No.
the to copyright that. But if it's okay with you, I'll make sure to put your contact info for LinkedIn so people can
Please
reach
do.
out if they
Yeah.
have any questions.
Yeah.
And, Tom's a great guy, guys. He's been a
I'm
wealth of
average. I'm
information.
average at best.
Oh no, you've been a wealth of information. You've also kept a smile on my face during COVID, so I appreciate it.
Well, sure thing. Sure thing.
But anyway, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate your time.
Oh, you're welcome. And again, thank you for having me. I wish everyone the best of luck. It's not going to be easy. Nothing's ever easy, but you just got to keep at it. And as long as you wake up the next day, you're doing okay.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Thanks.